What is going on, Raider Nation? Today we're going to talk about tackle DJ Glaze because this guy has looked really good on tape this season. And I think there's a real chance that this guy ends up being the long-term starter of the Las Vegas Raiders. But he is not a perfect player today. He still has to develop because there's a lot of losing snaps on tape. And he does have to get better in order to become the long-term tackle. If DJ Glaze makes zero improvement from this point forward, he is not a starting caliber tackle in the NFL. But there is upside, and we're going to start right away talking a little bit about some of the negatives. I want to show you guys some of the negative snaps that Glaze has had on tape. And then we'll also switch focus and get into some of the positive snaps. I think it's very important to look at negative snaps because it gives you an unbiased overview of a player, and it shows you where he may or may not struggle. So one of the things that I see with Glaze in terms of his struggling is sometimes he's not able to hit his landmark quick enough. He doesn't do a good job with the hands, and sometimes he's also out leveraged. Now, that's not a thing that's consistently happening on tape, and you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about as we continue to go through some of these reps. Now, you can see on this one, DJ Glaze is going to end up getting his hands here on number 66 before he gets out to Byron Young. But as he gets his hands into the defensive tackle here, he's not going to be able to make up ground and get back out here to Byron Young. Young's going to also do a good job swiping him with the right hand. And you can see because of the fact that Glaze is not able to get to his landmark, he's going to end up giving up the corner. And keep in mind, this is an obvious passing situation. It's 3rd and 4. And Young ends up hitting the quarterback, and it's going to be an incomplete pass. Here's another one. This one's going to be 3rd and 10. This is going to end up being an interception. You got to do a little bit of a better job being able to anchor down. You're going to see Gardner Minshew throws the ball up, gets intercepted. You got to do a little bit of a better job if you're DJ Glaze. Now, I'm okay with these type of snaps because, yeah, he gets a little bit of help from Brock Bowers here, who's going to push number 8 in the back. Also, Glaze is a rookie, so you got to understand that he's going to have to still get stronger. He's not ready for the NFL. Most rookies aren't. It's very rare you get a guy like Bowers that comes out that is used to or ready for the NFL strength. But Glaze is not there yet, right? So that's going to be one of the things he's going to have to work on this offseason. It's going to be to really get stronger, and it's to put on that weight that he may need to be able to come back into year 2. So you got this one here. This was 3rd and 10 leading to an interception. Here's another one. On this one, DJ Glaze is not going to be able to see the defensive line game, or at least he's not ready for it potentially coming. And you're going to end up seeing an interception on this one as well. You got to do a better job, if you're DJ Glaze here. To me, it's a basic concept that teams are going to run defensive line games, right? That's a very basic concept, but you got to do a better job keeping your head up. You got to understand and recognize that a defensive line game may ultimately end up coming. And on this one, he doesn't necessarily see it, and because of that, he's going to end up giving up his back to the defensive lineman here. So as soon as the defense lineman gets to the back of DJ Glaze, you've lost this snap. Jordan Meredith can either stick with number 55, but then 97 is going to come free, or he can get off of 55 and get over here to number 97. But keep in mind, 55 already has the leverage on DJ Glaze, so 55 at that point would also come free. So this is a lose-lose situation regardless how you look at it, and it's because Glaze does not see the game. If you end up getting a guy to your backside the way you do on this one, you're going to lose however you look at it. Not a big deal. He's a rookie at the end of the day, right? These are little things that you develop. These are things to get better at. Another thing I think DJ Glaze can continue to clean up is going to be his footwork and just the quickness, right? Being able to change direction, being able to move. One of the things we've seen sometimes defensive linemen do is they'll wind up super wide on Glaze. They'll make this guy play in space. They'll make this guy change direction. They'll run defensive line games. And again, he's a rookie, so he has to get a little bit better in terms of processing. But on this one here, you're going to see DJ Glaze is going to explode out of his stance. This is a good job getting out of your stance, right? Love the 45-degree set. It's quick. It's explosive. But if you get crossed to your inside on these sets, you got to be able to recover. You got to be able to stop this guy. And you see on this one, he's going to end up leaning in at number 8 a little bit. And this is just a losing snap however you look at it. And DJ Glaze also has to recognize that Amir Abdullah is going to release to the outside, which means you need to protect your inside. If this guy speed rushes, Abdullah's there to potentially hit this guy. And you'll see that as soon as Amir Abdullah is going to get out of his stance, he's going to release to the left. He would have been right there to take on Jared Verse if Verse hit an outside move. And I do acknowledge Jared Verse is a very good rookie. So I'm not surprised to see DJ Glaze losing to Jared Verse. But these are just the little things I need this guy to clean up. He's also had some bad run reps that I'll just show you guys really quickly. On this one here, he's going to end up getting called for a 10-yard holding penalty. Jared Verse is going to do a really good job just pushing him back, and then he's going to end up holding on Verse, and it's going to get called. So the Raiders, instead of picking up 10 yards, end up going backwards 10 yards. So to me, you got to do a better job if you're DJ Glaze on this one. And honestly, this is a kind of a simple block. You know, it's a duo concept. which is the power-based concept, right? You're going to get double teams at the point of attack, up to these linebackers, essentially. And these guys really just have seal-out blocks. Now, this block's a little bit harder, but this block here, and even this block here, these are easy blocks. You just got to seal out, and you just got to hold your ground. And Jared Verse is also not known as a power guy, right? He's more of a speed-based guy. But you're going to see DJ Glaze is going to end up getting basically pushed backwards, which should not happen. And then Verse also ends up getting his arm to the inside, and DJ Glaze is going to get caught holding right there. To me, you got to do a better job on that one, right? And it's not a huge deal because, again, these are things you can develop. But do note with DJ Glaze, when he loses snaps, oftentimes he's losing in a similar way, right? A lot of it's power-based. A lot of it's based on his movement. DJ Glaze was a third-round pick for a reason, and this is not a knock on DJ Glaze. It's just me being honest. Usually when offensive tackles go super high, it's because of their movement, right? The guys that go in the second and third rounds are generally slower than guys that go in the first round. You know, if you're a guy like Joe Walt and you're 6'8", and you move the way you move, you're going to be a top 10 pick. If you're Olu Fashanu, who moves really, really well, and even a guy like Tyler Guyton, you know, DJ Glaze might actually have better tape from his Senior Bowl as well as some of his college tape than a guy like Tyler Guyton. But the thing with Guyton is Guyton's 6'8", and he moves incredibly well. And I do notice on tape, Glaze doesn't move all that well at times, right? But again, it's not a big deal. It's just little things that he'll have to continue to clean up. But I do want to switch focus, and I do want to get into some of the positive things, because with a guy like DJ Glaze, he's done so many good things on tape this year, and I do want to give him some credit because of those things. So one of the things you'll notice with DJ Glaze is he's a lot better against guys that are a little bit slower, right? And I think he'll get better against speed as he continues to develop. But you'll see this play here, and as an example, you know, he has a guy in the 4-eye technique, and you're going to get an outside zone towards the right. So DJ Glaze has to get in front of number 92 here. So when Glaze essentially has to reach or cut guys off, like you'll see on this one, he does a good job holding his block. He does a good job making contact with guys. So to me, this is a pretty good job right here. And this is one of the things that he does a good job at, essentially, right? So that one's a pretty good job right there. You got another one here. This time he has a double team with Jordan Meredith, and he's going to overtake the block. And this one's difficult, right? But I think Jordan Meredith does such a good job. And I'll be the first to tell you guys, man, I think Meredith is an absolute baller. I think this guy has a ton of upside. I think for the Raiders this year, they should probably stick with Jordan Meredith at right guard. And I would even consider moving Dylan Parham to center. I think Andre James is the weakest link on the Raiders offensive line. To me, he's just not built to be a center in the NFL. He's weak. He gets bullied oftentimes. He's always falling over or not picking guys up. And, you know, it's one thing if you're in your first year in the NFL. It's a completely different thing when you're in like year 5 or 6, right? And here's another example of that. You know, to me, number 97 is going to basically be able to two-gap this. Not only does he contain the left side of Andre James, as you initially see here, but when the running back bends his back towards the right of your screen, number 97 also gets off the block and then ends up getting into the other gap. You can't have that. If a guy takes one gap, you need to be able to hold him, especially in a zone run, right? But getting back over here to Jordan Meredith and DJ Glaze, Glaze does a phenomenal job. I'm telling you guys right now, this double team block is so great because of the fact that Glaze is able to set up towards the right side of this defensive tackle. And this is a hard thing to do. And again, reach blocking is one of those strengths that DJ Glaze has. And coming out of college, I thought DJ Glaze would be a good guard in the NFL. But obviously, we've kind of seen how it's worked out up to this point. And DJ Glaze has shown a ton of upside, right? So again, great job here to be able to set up to the inside, hooks this defense lineman off, and you pick up a pretty nice amount of yards. This one does end up coming back, but Glaze still does a good job on this one. You're going to get another double team here by Glaze and Meredith. They're going to drive this guy like 4 or 5 yards back. So really, really good job on the double team block. Physical, powerful. You know, if you're the Las Vegas Raiders and you want to be a physical football team, you got to go out there and do it, right? Literally, you got to go out there and put it on tape. And on this one here, you're going to get a double team block on that defense tackle. And look at the movement. Look at this. You see that the guy's at about the 23, 24 yard line, and then he gets driven back to like the 32 yard line. So that's a really, really good job by those two guys to be physical and to really try to set the tone. To me, DJ Glaze has upside, and you see some of that upside on tape. But again, he has to just continue to develop, has to continue to get better, which I think he will. And I want to wrap this video up talking about Glaze in pass pro and some of the good things he does. Now, of course, as we've already talked, DJ Glaze has some struggles in pass pro, but there's also a lot of positives in pass pro. So this one here is a really good job by DJ Glaze, and I kind of want to talk about his technique a little bit. So DJ Glaze utilizes what is called the underneath technique. Every offensive tackle has different ways to punch, different ways to lock in with guys. I'll just show you guys an example using Colton Miller as an example, and then we'll kind of look at DJ Glaze. So if you guys keep an eye on Colton Miller, watch the hands. We're going to slow this down. We'll zoom in. Watch how Colton Miller makes contact with this defensive lineman. Colton Miller's going to throw both hands. The right hand's going to land to the shoulder pad. The left hand's going to end up landing to the inside. And that's how Colton Miller essentially makes contact with guys. DJ Glaze, on the other hand, is going to use the left hand as well to land to the inside. And keep in mind, when Colton Miller's left hand lands to the inside, he's playing left tackle, right? That's Colton Miller's outside hand. DJ Glaze is going to use the inside hand. So keep in mind, it's different, right? So DJ Glaze is going to lock in with the left hand, and he does a pretty good job with the footwork on this one. Here's another one. Glaze is going to do a phenomenal job using his hands. He's explosive out of his stance. Really, really good job pulling the lawnmower, right? Getting that lawnmower started, as they call it. He ends up getting out there. Good job with the technique, right? Right hand lands first because this guy's going to the outside. Left hand comes underneath. So good job right there. Locks in. And that's a really good job right there to latch onto that shoulder pad by DJ Glaze. And you'll see Gardner Minshew's going to get out of there. He's going to end up throwing it to Brock Bowers on 3rd and 3 for about 7 yards. It's a pretty good job right there. Now, DJ Glaze also had a pretty good game against Pittsburgh Steelers. He had TJ Watt lined up across him from pretty much most snaps. Of course, one of the things that the Raiders did, and I thought this was very smart by Luke Getsy, is they're going to essentially put a guy over here to chip. They're going to put a running back in the backfield as well to influence TJ Watt as much as possible. Right, this is a great example of what you have to do with guys that are rookies. And this is the one development that Glaze will have to make over the course of his career. You know, it's fine to help when a guy's young, but the difference between a guy like DJ Glaze and a guy like Penei Sewell or Trent Williams is those guys don't need this type of influence. So this is one of those things where DJ Glaze is going to end up taking on TJ Watt, but notice how TJ Watt has to change up his pass rush because of the chip help. All right, TJ Watt might want to go to the outside at this point right here. He might want to hit the corner, bend the edge. But because of the fact that Madison's out there, TJ Watt has to go back to the inside. Right? So the Raiders are going to influence TJ Watt's pass rush. And, I talk about this because Antonio Pierce also mentioned this a little bit, that the Raiders help DJ Glaze with chip help, with double teams. And I think that's what you have to do sometimes when you have a younger tackle, like DJ Glaze or Thayer Munford. And the Raiders do this less often than Josh McDaniels did last year for the Raiders, or even before that, John Gruden. But to me, I think the Raiders got to get to a point where their tackles can true 5-man protect without having to chip, essentially. You got another one here. DJ Glaze is going to do a really nice job going up against TJ Watt. There's not going to be any chip help. He's not going to get doubled. The pass does come out quickly, but it's still a really good job by DJ Glaze to wait and be patient with the hands. TJ Watt oftentimes is beating people by setting them up with certain pass rush moves. And on this one here, TJ Watt is going to hesitate to the inside. He's going to essentially chop with the inside hand as well. And he's going to jump back to the outside. So if you guys keep an eye on TJ Watt, you see him put that right foot into the dirt. He's going to jump outside. He's going to chop with the right hand. And he's banking on DJ Glaze to essentially throw his hands. And that chop right there, he is essentially trying to time it. And DJ Glaze does not throw the hands. He waits. And then he's able to get onto TJ Watt a little late. And with that, he's going to end up just riding Watt upfield. So it's a really, really good job right there by Glaze. You got another one here. It's a pretty good job by Glaze to be able to stick with TJ Watt. You know, some people will say this is pressure. I don't really think it's pressure. I think it's a good job by the quarterback, as well as Glaze to be able to ride the defensive end upfield. I'm okay with tackles letting guys run around the pocket. I think that's actually a really good rep right there. I will say this. One of the things that DJ Glaze will have to continue to develop is going to be to learn to snatch, learn to beat guys using advanced moves, right? Forking and those type of things. So I'll give you an example here. TJ Watt's going to try to long arm DJ Glaze, and Glaze does not know how to essentially win this rep at that point. And you're going to see TJ Watt's going to end up actually dropping that hand as well. But DJ Glaze here could snatch down TJ Watt, right? He can essentially push this hand downwards. He can punch it, chop it, whatever, downwards. And TJ Watt falls into the ground. You're going to see Glaze isn't able to kind of do that. And then when TJ Watt drops his hands, Glaze does end up leaning into it. Right there. TJ Watt drops the hands. He's trying to bend the corner. And Glaze leans forward into TJ Watt. Now, this is okay because Glaze is able to stick with Watt. He has the footwork on this one to be able to push him upfield. But there's a chance that you can miss as well, right? And DJ Glaze did miss. And I'll just show you guys a couple of those snaps. You know, people say that DJ Glaze had no losing snaps. against TJ Watt, he absolutely shut him down. I don't 100% agree with that. To me, one of the things with TJ Watt is he has so many different pass rush moves, his counters, everything about it is incredible. So on that last play, as we talked about it, TJ Watt tried to hesitate to the inside. He jumped back to the outside, and DJ Glaze brought the hands late, right? So that was, I think, about 5 or 6 plays ago. So 5 or 6 plays later, TJ Watt's going to counter that. TJ Watt is going to use the same exact move, but he's going to actually end up throwing a second counter. And let's talk about this a little bit. I think this is pressure on the quarterback. You guys may disagree with it, but you're going to see once again TJ Watt's going to hesitate to the inside. He's going to chop with the inside hand. And DJ Glaze is going to bring the hands late once again. Now, it worked last time, but on this one, TJ Watt, being the professional he is going to chop with the left hand as well, knowing that DJ Glaze is going to bring the hands late. So right hand comes back with the left hand, and you can see that left hand actually chops DJ Glaze's arms. And DJ Glaze loses his balance a little bit right there because he leans forward. And with that, TJ Watt, after he does the initial swipe, brings the left hand to chop. He's going to then rip. And to me, this is a winning rep right here by TJ Watt. And Aiden Collin does get the ball out, right? And this is one of the things that happens with pass rushers. As a pass rusher, you don't have a real opportunity to get to the quarterback on every single play, because the quarterback sometimes has a one-step drop. So if you guys watch the feet with Aiden Collin, sometimes it's 1 step, the ball comes out. Sometimes it's 3 steps, the ball comes out. This one here looks like 2 steps. Maybe it's a 3-step drop, and the footwork's not perfect. But essentially, it's a check down to the running back, right? You don't have a real chance to get to the quarterback. Here's another one where I think TJ Watt ends up beating DJ Glaze. Now, this one's questionable on if this is actually a pressure or not. I don't think it is. TJ Watt's getting to the quarterback on this one, right? So again, I just wanted to point these plays out because I don't want people to have false expectations of DJ Glaze, because what that means is if you come into the season and have false expectations of DJ Glaze, next season, if he struggles a little bit, right? If we have a new offensive coordinator, and we're running way more 5-man protections and this guy's struggling, well, then people are going to write him off as a bust. But if you don't have those expectations that are unrealistic, well, then you can actually watch this guy develop, right? Like in real time, you can watch him develop. And again, here's another one, right? You're going to get the double team with Brock Bowers. And after the double team, DJ Glaze is lined up against TJ Watt. And I would say that Watt still ends up beating Aiden O'Connell. Right. So again, I just only showing you guys these plays because I want you guys to have realistic expectations, not false expectations. I still think DJ Glaze has a ton of upside, and I still think this guy's going to become a really, really good football player. And I want to end this video on a positive note to show you guys a couple more snaps where this guy does a good job. On this one, he's going to make contact with number 98 here. He's going to release the hands, not fall forward, and just kind of stick right in front of him. It's a pretty good rep right here. Overall, I think there's a lot of upside with DJ Glaze, but I need to see this guy continue to develop. And I'm definitely not going to take the approach that I think DJ Glaze is set to be an all-pro. Right? There's a big difference between a guy like Jackson Powers Johnson and DJ Glaze. Jackson Powers Johnson has all-pro written all over him, and you can see it in his snaps. He's mostly winning every single one of his snaps, if not dominating guys. And DJ Glaze is not doing that. Unlike a fourth of DJ Glaze's snaps, he's getting pushed back into the quarterback. Then at the same time, the Raiders are helping, they're chipping, right? But I do also acknowledge this guy's a rookie, and I do understand guys get better. And I do think there's some traits with Glaze, but I think there are also some issues that we've kind of talked about, speed, power, being able to process. I also feel like he's built more as a guard than a tackle. And honestly, I think if DJ Glaze moves to guard in like 2 years, I think he's going to be a really good guard, right? I think there's so much upside for him as a guard. But again, we want to make sure that he's not an all-pro caliber tackle before he moves to guard. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys don't think it was too negative. I definitely am the type of person to take the approach, especially with offensive linemen, where I need guys to prove it before I crown it. I obviously took that approach with David Munford, and with Munford, I think most people have realized he's not that good of a tackle, right? He's a little too slow, and there's really just not a ton of upside with a guy like Munford, right? But with Glaze, there's traits there, so we'll see how he kind of pans out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time with another video.